Good morning. This is SlapperCast episode number 63.
Yep. I don't even know what time it is anymore. What day is it?
I don't know. No idea.
It's a daylight.
It is daylight.
Stick with that.
It's the day after.
Yeah.
Remember that movie?
The what?
You ever see that movie, The Day After?
No.
Oh, okay.
Which one? Is that one of those nuclear Holocaust movies?
It was the nuclear Holocaust movie.
From the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Had
Everything blew up.
I'm trying to remember the name of the main actor who was in that. Anyway, I saw that recently.
Definitely.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw something that there was actually some evidence that movie had an influence on foreign policy at the time, because it was during the era of Reagan, obviously. And apparently reportedly Reagan actually watched that and actually took steps, like it touched him, like it moved him to improve relations with Russia.
Pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tone down the rhetoric.
That may be open for debate, I'm sure. But
well, he wouldn't remember it anyway if he did it. So
he's useless now, right?
Well, even then,
Probably like a good doorstop.
All right. Did he have dementia or something towards the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, towards the end, he had whatever. But then during the whole Iran-Contra thing, he was like, I have no recollection of that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
lying motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lied the whole time.
Yeah.
So then they said, oh, no, he had, all this crony. Like, oh, no, he had dementia or he had Alzheimer's or whatever. Mm-hmm. No, he was just... Anyway, I didn't mean to get on that jag.
Yeah. Let's talk about Reagan right off the bat. So, okay. It was a fun day yesterday, right? We had the...
Yeah, that was tremendous. We just a gorgeous day after a while.
Eventually.
And just what a backdrop. And again, thanks to Laurie and Chris for having us down there, and man, running rings around that place to make it happen. And yeah, and how much fun was it to play the drums again?
I know.
I mean,
it was fun
sitting on that little box in there. But yeah, that was fun, and just to hear the guitars and and of course Jeff has just been on another planet lately, hitting that fiddle, just sounding tremendously exciting on that thing. Just can't thank him enough. And I before I forget too, we spoke last time about or somebody asked us, when we're going to tour again and stuff. I saw some stuff on some friends of ours up in Pennsylvania have been saying, "Hey, hope these gigs aren't canceled in May." I don't know. We've heard from all the big festivals that we were doing up there that they're not happening, but I'm gonna be staying on the these venues and just seeing what's happening where and when, because we're not this is May, what month is it now?
April,
yeah. So May 1st and May 15th, that doesn't seem like stuff's going to be open, or even if it's going to be open, if people are going to come out. So
yeah.
But I'm still I'm checking these venues just for that. And I know that one of our first trips, maybe, I know we talked about, again, I'm just talking. Just talking optimistically, but one of our, we may just go out west a little bit and go for a long weekend out to Marfa and Phoenix, and who knows. So
Albuquerque.
Yeah. So just little bit like, but yes, yeah, what fun yesterday being able to play live again, miss that.
It's like falling off a bicycle. You never forget how to do it. Wait, riding a bicycle. Riding or falling off a bicycle?
What's a bicycle?
It's like a cycle that's by.
Oh, I used to know a girl.
Yeah. Seat goes either way.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
We didn't have seats in our day.
Ah.
So
anyway,
are you ready to give your report on your ELO
I
electric
can talk about that
project?
for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun. So as promised, as we talked about last week, I said I'm going to take a deep dive on ELO and listen to all their records, which I did. And it's interesting to see the evolution. Like every band, I guess, goes through an evolution. But the first couple records were pretty heavy on the classical. I mean, really like digging in, like almost like, wow, this has no appeal to anybody except a hardcore fan.
Yeah.
But and the other interesting thing I noticed is that almost every record, Jeff Lynne does a song that sounds like it could have been written in between 55 and 63, maybe. He's definitely has Jeff Lynne has definitely a soft spot for the oldies in the sense that obviously the songs sound modern because of the production, but the chord progressions and the melodies sound like they could have been written, 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting as well.
Yeah.
He's got a super soft spot for old time rock and roll kind of music. So, but yeah, I mean, and every record had a really what's the word I want? Heartfelt kind of ballady type thing, like really kind of a heartstrings pulling kind of gut. Some of them are kind of gut wrenching, like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened to somebody. And then, obviously all the hits came along, and that's when we know all the hits and stuff like that. So the first three records, I really had no clue about the first three records, but once El Dorado shows up, it's like, oh, okay.
What are the first three? What are the names chronologically? Are they?
See, now you asked me a question.
First one,
I didn't memorize it.
I had it.
It's like ELO.
Yeah,
I can look it up.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah,
because it was such a blur last week.
Yeah.
It's Face the Music and hold on a second. I got it right here. I don't want to plug anybody, but that's kind of the beauty of Apple Music is you just type in a band and there's not all their information, but a lot of it. Okay, first one is No Answer.
Okay.
Electrolyte Orchestra 2, and then On the Third Day, which makes sense because that's the third album.
Whoa.
But like El Dorado is kind of when things show up for me anyway. And then there's a song called Fire on High, which is an instrumental, and it sounds kind of weird, stuff like that. And we were kids. We used to go to this over to Maine, and there's a place called Saco Beach, and it was kind of like they had like little mini amusement parks and putt-putt golf and all kind of go-karts and shit like that. It was near the beach in Maine, and there was this one place that we went to. I think it's called Palace Playland or something like that. Anyway, they had this ride inside of this. Knocking shit over. Had this ride inside this dome, and we call them scramblers, but what they are is just those rides that have like you sit in these three carts, and there's like three of them, and they all kind of twist and turn together. Yeah. They don't go up or down; they just kind of spin around. The carts themselves don't spin, but the thing that you're on spins. It looks like it's like an egg scrambler kind of a thing. We just call them scramblers anyway. And so you get in there, and you strap yourself in, and the lights go dim, and all of a sudden they're projecting these images on the inside of the dome, and they play ELO's Fire on High. And so you ride the entire ride for that whole song. Cool. And all I could think about the guys that worked there in the summertime, they must hear that song thousands of times between the time they open and the time they close.
It's like the guy in the ice cream truck must want to shoot himself when he gets home.
Yeah.
Turkey in the straw. Oh.
Yeah. But, and I say this a lot about, guys like, and you guys know this, like people have a certain instrumentalists have a certain sound that you just instantly recognize.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what band they're in, that's so-and-so's guitar playing, or that's so-and-so's bass playing, or that's so-and-so's drumming, or whatever. And Bev Bevan for ELO, to me, is one of those guys where you hear his drumming, it's like, doesn't matter if he's playing with them or any other group or whatever, it's like, that's his drumming. And he was there from the beginning. Basically, he and Jeff Lynne and Roy Wood kind of went from the Move and kind of formed ELO, and then Roy Wood dropped out, and then it was just Bev Bevan and Jeff Lynne.
Was Roy the string player?
Roy Hood, no, he's a saxophone and guitar, keyboard.
Yeah.
went on to form. They were in the Move. Then Roy Wood went on to form Wizard with 2 Z's, which is awesome. An awesome band. You should check out Wizard. Those guys are fucking crazy. And then Jeff Lynne and Bev Bevan went on with ELO, and then Richard Tandy joined on keyboards. And I can't remember who the string person was, but one of the string guys stayed with them for a long, long time.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Good stuff.
As I was telling you yesterday, I was like, I'm going to do it too. But I made it like halfway through the first album. I just fell off. Not because I wasn't enjoying it. I just wasn't in my mind every day. But I'd listened to a little bit of No Answer. I guess that was the first one. And then I jumped ahead to, at one point, because I was just curious to see how different it sounded to whatever album that has, I forget. It's one of the first hits they had.
Pour some sugar on me.
Yeah. I remember now.
I know.
But one of the things I noticed in the first record, as I was telling you yesterday, that clearly Jeff Lynne was a huge Beatles fan, and very, a lot of what ELO does, I think, is like an extension of their the Beatles psychedelic period.
Well, that's funny. I don't want to interrupt, but what's funny you say that, because they thought, Jeff Lynne kind of thought, somewhere I read that either him or the premise of ELO was to pick up where the Beatles left off.
Yeah.
Right. That's what the mindset was.
Yeah, and you can definitely hear that on the first record with those cellos.
Yeah.
Or the one, I guess it's just one cello. That's that very chuggy kind of style, Baroque style that George Martin had implemented so many times in their later stuff, Eleanor Rigby and I'm a Walrus and Strawberry Fields and all that stuff. But by the time they moved on, the Beatles' influence was always there, but it seems like they really came into their own, as they moved forward, and they really have their own sound. Not that there really isn't anything on the first record that sounds like that's a total ripoff of the Beatles. It's more like a feel that
I think it's more a stylistic
thing.
Yeah.
But
it's great. I subjected poor Leslie to it. I was like, hey, let's listen to some ELO for a minute. She's like, I don't care. I don't know other stuff. I couldn't recognize an ELO song, and I almost, what? How dare you? No,
she likes it now, though, right?
I guess she was singing along with stuff.
Are you still under? You still have a roof over your head?
Yeah,
you did good.
Yeah,
you did good.
Wasn't
It's a whole lot.
I was selective about when I was play it. I wouldn't. But
are these on LP? Are these CD? Or is it just?
It was on Apple Music.
Just Apple Music.
Yeah, just went through the whole list.
Yeah,
and they did their last record in like 80 something, and then it wasn't until the 2000s that it's now Jeff Lynne's ELO. And then Bev Bevan at one point, he quit the band, but he didn't quit. I guess Jeff Lynne's like, I'm not doing that anymore. It's basically about the same time I think he started producing more, and of course the Traveling Wilburys and working with Tom and whoever and Bob Dylan and all those guys. And Bev Bevan said, well, can I go off and do some ELO stuff? And he's like, sure. So he called it ELO Part 2.
Huh.
So Bev had a band that did live concerts. They would do about 2/3 ELO stuff and 1/3 their own music.
Interesting.
And then finally he was like, fuck it, I'm done.
I'm tired.
I'm tired of that. And he sold the rights back to, because he owned the rights to the ELO.
Oh, okay.
So he sold them back to Jeff and said,
I saw Jeff's been touring with Donnie Harrison, George's son.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. And they do some George stuff.
Cool.
Just because, of course.
Yeah. But it was fun. It was a fun experiment.
Have you got any more coming? Any more planned?
For bands?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll maybe let some of the viewers decide this week.
Yeah.
We'll pick it up, check, and share that information with me. What other band should Eric take a deep dive into?
Ooh.
I think that would be kind of cool. I mean, just for the three of us to pick an album to listen to or to review, to talk about.
We can do that.
If there's something we can all...
Yeah, that'd be good for you too.
Let me guess. Iron Maiden 1.
No, I wouldn't deep dive into that stuff. Who are they again?
I think it was like some band named after a medieval torture device.
Oh, yes. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Poison. Yes.
Very
Never
nice.
ends.
Very nice. What else you got?
Well, we got a bunch of questions here from two of our listeners, two of our very loyal listeners. So there's a whole bunch of questions from Scott Quinn and one from Greg. Maybe we should do Greg's question first.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hi, Greg.
Hey, Greg.
Hi, Greg.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for listening. You're on the air. Oh, and he's not. It's quite okay.
Greg asked us who is your favorite female artist? And I'm assuming he means musician.
I don't think he does.
Georgia O'Keeffe?
Yeah.
Frida Kahlo?
Yeah.
Patrick?
Well, apart from Helen Reddy, Karen Carpenter, Barbra Streisand, Vince Neil. That's sorry.
One of these things doesn't belong.
Yeah.
Helen, you're out.
Well, I'll start there, and of course, maybe Frida and Anna from ABBA. Apart from that, there's really not any. No, there's I have many favorites. Cher, just the voice alone. I don't really care for the music, but Julie Andrews and Barbra Streisand. I think you really can't make a better case for a singer. For it might not be your taste, but I mean, just for again listening to Bee Gees and Barbra Streisand do "They're Guilty" or whatever it was, her voice on that, it just take paint off a jumbo jet. Just
You mean that in a good way?
in a good way.
Okay.
I've never heard clarity like that. I've never, and then you put somebody like Celine Dion or something on, and you just gone to the. I can't take it, or I don't even know her name. But there's a Christmas song somebody did, pop singer, and she sang it. She put so many notes per millisecond. It was, you just wanna jump off a cliff. Worst shit I've ever heard. So I have many, but I have many favorite female singers. However, in rock, it's really difficult. It's really difficult because I can't stand. I think Doro Pesch has got a good voice-ish, but I can't stand that Twisted Sister lyric writing style. It's really difficult to listen to that kind of adolescent. First day with a a song idea. Write it down. Oh, that's it.
That's it. That's the hit.
Take one. So again, I have no room to criticize anybody's lyrics, but it's just difficult to listen to that kind of that stuff. So I get, again, the timbre of the voice and the style that they sing and what they sing, huge. And then but in rock, it's just really difficult to find a female singer that I like. Joan Jett's got a nice heavy voice, but you heard one, you heard them all. So there's, it's difficult.
Helen Reddy, that's kind of a wild card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You weren't expecting that, were you?
She's not one you'd think of right off the top of the bat.
And Dolly Parton. Love Dolly Parton.
Of course.
We got to talk about that.
Yeah.
No, you
have the floor here.
You go next. You go next. I want to end this on a low note.
Yeah. I'm kind of with Patrick that there aren't a whole lot of women in rock that at least didn't really hit me while I was growing up. Because when I was growing up, my mom was listening to Carole King, the Tapestry record, which was really big in the 70s. It's great, that's great stuff. But none of it, that stuff didn't really sink into me, like the Beatles and the Who and all the other stuff I was listening to early in the 70s around the time, and the Jacksons. It's a whole other story. But there are some people that I've really been taking notice of, newer bands. There's a band called Lake Street Dive that has a lead singer named Rachel Price, and she is absolutely amazing. I think she's fantastic. As just a vocalist, period, but she does rock well. But she's just an incredible vocalist and a great performer. And there's also another artist that I haven't really dived into.
You had it right the second time. Divin. I haven't divin in.
St. Vincent. where I kept Jay Dryden is a huge fan of St. Vincent. He's got a bunch of pictures that he had taken over at a show, and so that's when I first became where I was like, wow, because she's really stunning. She wears really interesting costumes and stuff, but she's really good guitar player, and she's done work with David Byrne. That was also the other thing that I kind of.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I have to add on one thing. When you were saying that, I have to add on Fiona Apple. As far as voices go, and completely original from what I heard. So I need to add that on.
Yeah, that's a good call. She is brilliant. That's another example of somebody who's come along in more recent years as opposed to
Yeah, I don't know what she's doing now. I just remember that stuff that she did back at the time. Oh,
yeah,
that was good. So anyway,
now there's a lot of imitators of her now. That vocal style.
I wouldn't know. I mean, again, I don't seek out new music, and and I pay for it. I mean, it's a curse, but it's I have listened to I know Leslie sang with Trish Cramblett.
Trish, yeah. And
I have to say that she's a really soulful, and that's not we're talking national, but this is she's writing some great stuff, and she sings really, really well. We've worked with her for many, many years now at our toy drive, and so you have to check out our local Houstonian Trish Cramblett, and
yes,
Leslie sings with her, so I'm dying to hear that. So sorry.
Speaking of Trish, she had an interview with Johnny Gowdy. has a podcast. Yeah, he's had a podcast for ages. I had no idea until I saw she posted about it. I was like, "What, Johnny? Holy crap!" And he's like into episode 900 or something now. So he's been doing podcasts since the very beginning. Yeah,
for probably over 10 years. What's he doing? Jesus.
Yeah,
working.
But I dug into his podcast catalog, and he had an interview with Ian McLagan many years ago, which is really fun to listen to.
Nice.
So, but anyway, yeah, that was cool. But nice job, Johnny. Anyway, do you know Johnny Gowdy? Did you ever meet him?
No.
Okay.
I know of him. I probably have met him. I just don't remember.
I met him years ago,
passing.
Back in the late 80s.
Yeah.
When we were both in the Houston scene back in those days. Anyway. All right, cool.
So did I cut you off on your
St. Vincent speech?
Yeah, well, yeah, I was saying, yeah. It wasn't a speech. She's somebody I've only heard a couple of her songs, but I haven't until now. I really haven't had the patience to listen to any new artists. But she is somebody that I know I need to give more attention to, because she really is brilliant from what I've seen. Yeah. She has this really cool cover of Dig a Pony that I found. That's one of the reasons why I was thinking about her. When a couple shows ago, we were talking about Dig a Pony and the Beatles song Dig a Pony on the Let It Be record. And
sorry, John.
I stumbled across her cover of that, which I thought was really just number one. That's like not a Beatles cover you hear very often. It's kind of an slightly obscure number.
Sure. Yeah,
and it is a weird song too. Lyrically, it's very strange. But yeah, St. Vincent. Y'all should check her out, and so should I.
It's on you.
In no particular order.
Okay.
Dusty Springfield. Darlene Love. Karen Carpenter, of course.
Of course.
That's it, just those three.
Who's the second one?
Darlene Love?
Yeah.
Darlene Love is a member of Phil Spector's group, The Crystals. And she was also Mrs. Phil Spector for a minute. And, the Crystals had all those great hits in the 60s. And the fucked up thing was, like, he was so into her, but if he would have promoted her, like, to be like the singer that she is, or she could have been, she'd be a bigger star than Diana Ross in the 60s. She would have been bigger than the Supremes, because her voice was ridiculously good. Her big hit, what she sang was "Today I Met the Boy I'm Gonna Marry." Google that song and listen to her sing that lyric. Holy, you'll get chills. Great. Dusty Springfield, of course, British gal.
Yeah.
Her her, what's that song called? I just listened to it this morning. I Only Want to Be With You was kind of a big pop hit for her. No matter what you do, I only want to be with you. Ba-ba-ba, big horns. And the way she sings the bridge in that song, stupid.
Wow.
And Karen Carpenter's history, she was the drummer in the Carpenters band.
Mm-hmm.
She was the drummer, and they went in the studio, and the parents were like, "No, Richard's the singer. He's the piano player." And Hal Blaine was like, "This kid playing the drums. Have you heard her sing?" And the parents are like, "Yeah, we know." And he's like, "You should give her a shot." And they let her sing a song, and the rest is history. I mean, what a golden voice.
Yes.
Yeah, amazing voice.
I'm struggling right now to find who sang "Rainy Night in Georgia," who the big hit.
Well, a guy sang it, right?
There's a
girl version?
There was a woman that sang it, and I cannot remember her.
You're not thinking of Gladys Knight singing
Not
Midnight Train to Georgia.
No.
A lot of shit goes down in Georgia, apparently.
I know.
That went down in Georgia, Midnight Train to Georgia, Rainy Night in Georgia.
When you don't have anything,
Sweet
you just
Georgia
gotta
Brown.
throw them. Yeah.
Jesus.
So, and also, I have to say, just for vocal ability and sex appeal and Tina Turner, I just have to, because with the body of work and the energy and the performance and I have to say, she blew me away. I heard Nutbush City Limits, and I heard, of course you hear all the, but when I hear that growl and I hear that power and that range, that was the thing with Dolly Parton too. There's a lot of stuff to me that sounds like it should be at Dollywood. It should be it should be played at a drag show, or it should be played it's just hysterical. But her voice is ridiculous. I mean, to sing that high and that clear and that, so that's why, and I think that, I think that she wrote some really, really classic pieces. But anyway, so I had to throw them in there too. So
you got to dig up Dolly's. If you haven't heard it yet, like her early stuff where she's singing rock and roll.
Yeah,
like late 50s, early 60s, maybe. She's singing. She released a couple of rock and roll records, and then she went country. My only problem with Dolly Parton is this: it's what's been happening in the last 10 years or so with her concerts. And what's been happening with her concerts is that she is not singing live, and she is not playing instruments live. I swear to God, I promise you.
Oh yeah,
I promise you.
Yeah, I've seen that. Have you seen the side of her nails?
Yeah, she's not playing guitar.
She's not playing nothing.
She's not playing saxophone.
She's not playing nothing. She's not even playing with herself.
You notice too when hang on.
Ow.
Yeah, you notice too that when if she's live and she talks on the microphone, when she starts singing, it's a completely different timbre.
Of course it is, and all the with the best sound in the world, you're still not going to get that switch.
Right.
You're not going to get. Yeah.
So,
That's depressing.
I know you're upset.
I know.
But
it's going to be okay.
Let me just put a coda on this thing. Everything up to the point where she decided she had to do lip syncing in concerts. I mean, it's her singing on the records. Obviously,
Yeah, it's not Milli Vanilli.
Yeah, it's not Milli Vanilli. It's her voice.
Step back.
It's her voice on
gonna be a fight.
All those great records. She's a fantastic singer,
Great songwriter.
a wonderful entertainer, a good song,
Yes.
great songwriter.
And I'm just pissed off that she got her hands on those outfits before I did, because I would wear every single one of them.
What does she say? It costs a lot to look this cheap. She says in concert.
Yeah.
So anyway, don't mean to, but yeah,
Yeah.
she doesn't sing live anymore. And she touts it. I can play banjo, I can play guitar, I can play saxophone, but again, it's just all mimic.
Yeah.
It's all mimicking.
It's I saw that.
So anyway,
I saw one of those concerts too, and it was the point where you switch it off.
She was just on TV the other day. I forget what, I think A&E was doing like a deep dive into country music for whatever reason, and we just happened to come across it, and it was like a celebration of Dolly, and so they were at the Opry, and then like all these artists were singing like Dolly Parton songs and whatever, and then she came out, and it was just like she's tone is one way when she's talking, then when she's singing, it's completely different.
It's not
sound.
Anybody that does it. I mean, if you can't play it live, I know. I mean, we just said it 2 seconds ago how much we missed playing live, and it probably showed yesterday that we haven't played live in a while. But the being able to do it again is such a wonderful, wonderful feeling. And but if you can't do it live, I remember we were talking about this, and this ran across my head yesterday. After we came back from the show, I was saying that I went for a run, and the stuff that clears up in your head when you're able to see straight again. It seems when you exercise like that. But I was thinking about, we were in the car and we were talking about, we were listening to some mix of a band sound checking, and it sounded like a record. It sounded as produced as a record. And yourself, he goes, why the fuck would you want to play that? Now, understand, hats off to, if you're playing it and it sounds, perfect, fantastic. We're in a rock and roll band. We don't want perfection, nor shall we attain it, because we're not in that, just it's gotta be from the heart, and it's gotta be, and if you can play note for note and in perfect time and click track, and more power to you. But if you're gonna mime it, take a walk.
Yeah.
And it's funny how these things, we say it in passing, but it makes so much sense when you're playing live. It's a little bit out of tune, a little bit rough, a little bit flat.
Well, you're not going to sing the same song. If we play 4 nights in a row, you're not going to sing the song the same exact way each time. You're probably not going to play the same solo. I'm going to play different fills. I mean, and some bands some bands go out there and they'll play it just like the record. The guitar solo is the same every single night because they think that's what people want to hear.
Yeah,
people want to hear just like the record, and I don't want to hear that. I want to hear something new. I mean, show me that you got something else in you.
Yeah,
I get it. I mean, I get why people do it, but at the same time, it's like it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
And the last thing I'll say about that is so many bands now, their songs are so like on the record, they're so overproduced that they have to recreate that live when they play. So they're playing to tracks, which is fine or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, now that makes me wonder how much of this is actually tracked and how much of this is you playing live.
Yeah.
How much of this is maybe you're miming.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just, and the singer's just singing karaoke.
Yeah.
I've
heard bands with backing tracks that should have mimed. That should have mimed more, or should have put more in. It really is. It doesn't save you. Mm-hmm. It doesn't, it does. And again, we're the worst critics because it's what we do.
Yeah, I know. So I just don't get it, because it's, to me, it's like we're just saying that the thrill of it, or at least a big part of the thrill of it, is that spontaneous aspect. So it doesn't matter how much we rehearse one song. If we really rehearse one song almost to death, we're never going to play it exactly the same twice.
I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, and it's not really humanly possible to do that anyway. Just to strive and to try to recreate that kind of perfection on stage, there's something just unnatural about it. And to me, it would just make me uptight to think I have to stick with this pre-recorded,
Some people live. That's what they want.
Yeah. There's just
they'll turn around and say, "No, Chad, it's it goes 1-5, 1-5, not 1-4-5." Yeah. No, Patrick, play the solo like on the record. No, Eric, play the drum part like on the
that moment you were telling me about at the Sting concert you saw, where the drummer
Vinny Colaiuta turned the beat around just to have fun with it.
Yeah. But it created this moment on stage where the cool thing about it was watching how Sting reacted to it.
Yeah. So the quick story is we were just talking about concerts and stuff like that, and Chad mentioned he saw Sting. I was like, oh, I saw Sting in '91, and it was cool because it was just a 4-piece, just 4 guys on the stage, and Vinny Colaiuta was playing drums, and because he was on that last record, drums, the Ten Summoner's Tale, which had a lot of songs that were in 5 or in 7, because that's, Vinny Colaiuta, he plays in 5 and 7 all the fucking time, so it's fine. But they for whatever reason, they did Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix, and it's a fine song. And they're playing it, and they come out of the guitar solo, and Vinny purposely pushed the beat over by like an eighth note. So the band's going da 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 da, and he's going boom ba boom ba boom, but he's playing off the beat.
Yeah,
and to the point where Sting was in the front of the stage, and all of a sudden he heard what was happening, and he kind of turned around and kind of walked back to the drums, and Vinny had this huge smile on his face. He's like, surprise, don't worry about it, I'll fix it in a minute here. And then he did a big old drum fill and came back in on the one. I mean, that's what guys like him can do. They can do that. They can fuck with those guys, and it's fun. But to see Sting's face, he was just like, wait, something's not, he's thinking, oh, the band is off.
Yeah.
The drummer's off a beat. And Vinny's like, no, just wait.
A faith.
Just wait. Like some of the fills that one day you were like, hey, some of your fills are like, because I was just like, yeah, fuck, I'm playing over the bar line. Who cares?
Yeah.
I'm going to start the triplet on the second partial and then put the accent there and just to mess with everybody. And you were like, don't do that.
I don't mind it because usually I can feel when it's
no, but that was at that one night, whatever set that was, I was feeling particularly adventurous. And I was like, okay.
It's usually like a fill coming back into a a part of the song where we're starting again, or a different, that's. And again, going back to when we were doing the acoustic stuff 2 weeks ago, we're playing stuff that we've never rehearsed at all. Now we're playing it acoustically.
Yeah.
With a cajon. So you're sitting on this thing and it just looks like a horny monkey or something. And we're supposed to just lock in, and we do. And it's strange to me that I keep looking over going, Jeff and Eric haven't met.
Mm-hmm.
And nor have they played this song together, and Jeff hasn't played it, and Eric's never heard it. So we're just gonna kind of tape it together and see what we get, So stuff is a little faster and stuff is a little, but it's just so fun. And it's when you have that language, when you have that, that unwritten, unspoken, you just have that conversation going musically. It's a thrill.
Yeah.
It's a really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's hard for a lot of bands. Well, if you've got the experience, it makes it easier. It doesn't make it any less challenging.
Yeah.
But it just makes what's this song? How does it go? Okay.
Yeah.
And based on your previous knowledge of music, you can kind of figure it out or figure out what's going to fit the song the best.
Yeah.
I think.
So I know that Greg had asked about female artists, and thank you for that. That was fun.
Yeah.
As usual, we take a little detour.
Okay, and here we have several questions from our friend Scott Quinn.
Scott, how are you, Scott?
Pick a winner.
Brother of the late, great Jeff Quinn.
Nice.
Up in Kansas City, Missouri.
Wonderful family.
Yeah. So let's see what he's got.
Love those guys.
He's got a bunch of good questions here. Actually, there's really just 2 questions and two comments. But first he says, I'm loving these videos, referring to the SlapperCast. Not just the full episodes, but I've been putting up clips on there to make it a little more easily discoverable for people. But he says, I'm loving these videos. It's so cool to hear some of the things that give more texture and perspective on all of you. I thought that was a really nice thing to say. He also says he'll buy, next time we're in KC, he's going to buy us Bryant's barbecue.
Oh, fantastic.
I heard that. Can we just go there now?
Witness. Road trip.
So what is it? We talked about this on the show a few times, but he says, do you guys listen to audiobooks or podcasts when you're on the road? So, and I know there's one audiobook you listened to at one time, at least the one I remember is the one about Caballa Blanca. I forget, what was the name of that book?
Born to Run.
Born to Run, yeah.
Yes. Incredible book. I was just telling some people about that. But the podcast thing, that's been I like I said, going back 63 episodes, I kept telling Chad was like, we need a podcast. I go, we don't need a podcast. Nobody needs a podcast. Everybody needs everybody's got a podcast. Yes, they do. But you know what? This is now a podcast is what's needed, or what's, people, there's obviously a market for it and blah, blah, blah. So I started listening to podcasts on the road just because there was, you've got 18 hours in a van. What are you going to do? And so that, podcasts are just so much fun to listen to. But I guess with everything, there has to be that there just has to be that informative, or that I've switched a couple of them off, and I honestly can't. I'd love to give you the names. I just can't listen. I can't remember the names on purpose. But just listening to them and just hearing the drivel, hearing the if it gets too technical, or if it gets too deep into they go down that rabbit hole, and you're not. There's no light.
Yeah.
You're too far gone.
Yeah.
And it's me. That's the end of it. So it has to be, it has to have a little edge to it. Our good friend Rick Gillis had told us earlier on too, when we're doing this, and Rick is one of these gurus as far as resumes, and he's pretty. If he's not a motivational speaker, he should be. He's one of these people that's just brilliant. Mind never stops. But he had told us too when our first start, don't say Continental Club. Say the Continental Club in Houston, Texas, or the Continental Club in Austin, Texas. But don't just say the Continental and assume that these people know where you're. So that was the light.
Yeah.
At the
give a little context.
Yeah, you've got especially these times, sitting around the house and got nothing to do, nowhere to go. It might be nice to have it on the background and listen. And the Joe Rogan one is the one that just comes to mind. His podcast, just because his the research that he does, and the guests that he had. Even if you don't know the guests, I don't know 90% of the guests that he has on the show.
Yeah.
But just because he's so well researched, and he's so into it, and he's a natural.
He's so good.
He's a great comedian, tremendous comedian, but he's an even better.
Just a conversationalist.
I think you're right. I think his podcasts are more entertaining than his comedy. And he's a really good comedian, obviously.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So cool.
What about you? Do you listen to podcasts?
I was a lot more when I was driving back and forth to Austin. What I would do, I would listen to music on the way up. And then after the gig, when I was driving home at whatever time in the morning, I'd listen to podcasts because it would just keep my brain focused while you're driving. I was listening to Joe Rogan a bunch, and a guy named Tim Dillon, who's a comedian. But also Tim is one of those guys that is really smart like Joe, and he does his research. But lately, I can't bring myself to listen to Tim Dillon because it's almost a little too bleak for what's going on in the world. And he's trying to be funny about it. At the same time, it's like he's very aggressive when he talks. And he just did one that I'm going to try to dive into with some lady that interviewed a bunch of the Epstein victims.
Oh.
And he's big into that, and he was big into the Epstein scandal and stuff like that. But one I really enjoyed, although it was a little kind of melodramatic, was called Inside the Exorcist. I had to pull them up here so I can remember what they are. And a friend of mine turned me on to that, and basically it's like telling stories about the Exorcist movie, Jaws, the first Star Wars, and I think Psycho. And it kind of basically tells the story of how those movies got made.
Cool.
So it's really interesting. And it's like, they're about maybe 30 minutes each, and there's a bunch of them. But the one
that must
thing...
be nice.
Well, yeah. Well, the one thing... This is only 30 minutes long.
Okay.
Times 4. The one thing he does is that he recreates dialogue, or dialogue that you assume happens. So some of it's like factual, and some of it's kind of like historical fiction.
Yeah.
And sometimes it gets a little bit melodramatic. Like the one about George Lucas and Star Wars gets a little bit melodramatic. It's kind of like, oh, God, just get to the fucking point. We don't care that George's feelings were hurt, or whatever. We don't care that his, whatever. It's fine. But anyway, so that was cool. And there's I listened to a couple of drum ones here and there. There's one that's called "Say You Love Satan," and it's about 80s horror movies, which is really interesting. They do a deep dive into horror movies. Producing the Beatles is a good one. It's one called SlapperCast. I don't know what that's about. But
who does Producing the Beatles?
Producing the Beatles. It's not very Jason Kruppa.
Sorry, John.
It's basically he'll take a song and kind of dive into it. They're not very long. He hasn't really done a whole lot lately though. So, but you can take a look at it.
Cool.
And there's another guy that it's pretty interesting. It's called Sounding Off with Rick Beato, and he basically discusses what makes a song good. So he'll do a deep dive into a song, and he'll like have other guys like play the part. Like here's what the guitar part sounds like, and this is why this is cool, kind of a thing.
Not Rick Beato? Is that something? Is that what it is?
Beato?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the guy who has a YouTube channel too.
Yeah, that's the same guy.
Same guy? Okay, cool. I didn't even know he had
What
a
makes
podcast.
a song great? Fleetwood Mac, Queens of the Stone Age,
Yes.
Mastodon.
Yeah.
Wow.
Rick Beato's cool as hell.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat thing to.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. But no, not lately. No podcasts lately. And audiobooks. I haven't listened to an audiobook in
Since your cassette player died.
I don't know 25 years.
Yeah.
Just when the cassette player died. Yeah. You used to be able to. You could go to Cracker Barrel, and you could rent one and return it to a different Cracker Barrel, and you're done with it. Like if you're doing like a road trip. You ever notice? You guys are too young for this.
Do what?
Yeah, well, I don't recall. I remember stopping at Cracker Barrel and saying,
Cracker Barrel.
I hope I never see another one of these again.
In the gift shop, they had like audio cassettes, and then they had obviously they had audio CDs. And it used to be you could rent one from that particular store, like say the one that's down and out west here, in Houston, and you could return it to the one that's in Oklahoma City. Like hey, I rented this, I'm just bringing it back, and they would figure out a way to shuffle it around or whatever.
Oh, interesting. That's
But
cool.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Next question.
Well, I didn't answer the question.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
Chad.
that's
Sorry,
okay.
Jesus.
My
That's okay.
goodness.
I don't know that.
He just leaves. See, he doesn't even care about my answer.
Nobody cares, but we all care. So who's your podcast go to?
I got tons. It would take too long to list all the ones I listened
Okay,
to.
the next question.
But the last, I was listening to a really good audiobook, which was Pete Townshend's autobiography. So I bought the actual book of it too, but he reads it himself, and he's great. He's really great at reading.
Well, I imagine he's got that wit. He's got that.
Yeah. What I love about
What's the name of the biography?
Who I Am, I think, and what's great about Pete's stuff, and he's just a really good, he's a great orator anyway. But
yes.
When he's telling his own story, you can hear him. He's putting, he's reading it as almost. It sounds natural. You can, obviously he's reading off a page, but he's really making it jump.
Yeah,
off
of course.
the page.
But he's not gonna skim. Right. He's gonna dive. He's gonna.
And what my favorite thing is he's chuckling at stuff, as he's reading it, going, I love that. It just feels like he's actually telling you a story.
Yeah.
So that is really highly recommended too. It's a very well written book as well. And podcast guys, there's so many I listen to that I'm not going to name them all, but there's one really good one that's one really good one I'm going to mention called My Favorite Album with Jeremy Dillon. And Jeremy Dillon, I think I'm not sure what his main gig is. He's an Australian. He lives in Nashville, but he's a really good interviewer, and he's had this podcast for years. But his thing is
that a podcast you have?
Yeah, this is Pocket Cast.
Christ.
Yeah, I don't listen to all of these.
Holy smokes.
I don't have time.
Goes on for pages.
But my favorite album with Jeremy Dillon is a great one. He what he does is he'll interview a musician and get them to talk about another artist.
Yeah,
and some of them are really fascinating. He had Robin Hitchcock doing I forget which, maybe it was Pepper. But Robin Hitchcock is really great at talking about music in general, but he's a really intent. The Beatles are one of his biggest influences, obviously, so he has a lot to say about them. So that's just as an example. That's a great show.
But I have to say too, in my defense, I don't listen to podcasts and stuff like that. I don't run with music. I don't like earphones or headphones or and when I'm in the car, I like for the world to hear what I'm listening to. I usually listen to it pretty loud. And I took my daughter the other day in the car, and she picked out "God Hates Us All" by Slayer, and we were listening to that at a decent level, and it's just so nice to be back in the car and listening to. So I don't sit still. This is torture, just so you know. This podcast bullshit. Sitting here is torture.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't like to sit still. So to put the headphones in or to listen to it in the house, it's difficult. Until we get back on the road again. We're gonna, the podcast crap's gonna have to wait.
Yeah, I usually only listen to it when I'm like out walking, like I go for those long walks.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was thinking, because I was like, when does he get the check?
Yeah,
of course that's on.
And quite often, I've been listening to it less and less since we've been doing this show. I find myself wanting to review the stuff that we've done the week before, and I'm not just listening for content, but listening for audio, because I used to spend more time editing than I do now. That's been an ongoing process too. But I'm so immersed in the technical side of things now.
Yeah, and we're fortunate in that you take the time to do it, because I would just release the hours of hiss and dead air and crap. But so the other thing is too, we've thanked people and we will continue to thank you. But I just want to also say a big thank you to everybody for putting the word out. And we're finally able to now do the YouTube live and do the, all people have been recommending us on podcasts and all that stuff, man. Thank you. Just, and Scott and, Greg, everybody, Lori, and everybody for pushing us and letting us do this. It just, thank you for all that. 'Cause it's just, it is a joy to stay connected with you like this, and to, hopefully when this thing is over sooner than later, and we'll be able to come back out and harass you live. Mm-hmm. Looking forward to that.
Nice.
Sir. So Scott had another question, which we've kind of touched on this in a recent episode, where he says, are there things that an audience does that either inspire you or annoy you?
To ask that question again?
Are there things that an audience does that either inspire you or annoy you?
Yes.
I can think of many annoyances.
Heartfelt, yeah. Heartfelt, yes.
But there are definitely inspirations too.
Yeah.
Name one.
I mean, I can tell you off the top of my head, just going to when you meet these people at a show and they say, hey, great show, or they say, enjoyed this, or they name a song, or they tell you, that never gets old. And although you may not be able to react as excitedly, or if you're not able to put as much into your reaction as you might be worn out from the show, you might be blah 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 blah. The thanks and the stories that go along with that, with that show or what song or something you said or you did, that never falls on deaf ears. That's just always wonderful. But the thing that inspires me to no end is the keeping up with. They didn't just come see the band and just go off and say, they went off and they told people about it, and but then they kept in touch with us, via the YouTube thing or the podcast or another show, or and you can't help but befriend these people, and it means a lot. It means just yesterday, I hope I don't get into trouble for saying it, but our friend Melinda from we met her years ago in College Station, and she's got a very, very high ranking job up north, and she wrote to us, and she said, and again, and we've stayed in her house in College Station and up in, she's just been an amazing friend to us. And because of music and because of just, and because of time and, what's happening, you become close to these people and then you want to do it more. You want to, so just the, we know our kids, we know our husband, we know our, that's so thrilling to be able to cart that around, with all the gear and the songs. And,
yeah. There's that. And then the community that I've seen grow with people whom I know didn't know each other before they came to one of our shows. We've had people get married because they met each other at our shows.
Yeah.
So several couples.
Yeah.
And we played their weddings, at least two of them, I think.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful. And the other thing that really I think is just amazes me is the people who will drive across state lines to see us, like,
and fly in unannounced
in a week. Yeah,
Jay.
yeah. And I just that means the world to me that anybody would go through that much trouble.
Yeah.
to see our shows, even if they just saw us, the night before. So I love. It blows my mind.
Yeah. Illinois to Arkansas, and Florida to just everywhere we've what are you doing here? And it's strange because you meet so many people and then you can't place them. I remember that night at Hibernia, our friends from Illinois came in and they came to Ireland with us. I was like, it's bugging you, but you got the lights in your face so you can't make it out, and you're,
Yeah.
So yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Eric?
What?
Nothing?
No. Inspiration, especially in this band, I've known you guys for a long time, and I know that your fan base was rabid, and it's fun to see it firsthand from the other side of the other side of it. And they've been so gracious and welcoming. And, I like looking out and, just seeing people that are either, they're hitting the table or they're singing along, or their fists are raised and joyous, rapture and stuff like that. And everybody's just been so nice and welcoming, and that's what's great about music is it's such a powerful force to bring people together. Like both of you have already said that,
Mm-hmm.
As far as annoying things go,
that's easy.
There's a few. I don't want to go dark. There's a few things that I've seen, not just in this band, but in every band I've ever played, and that I'm just like, really?
Yeah.
My biggest annoyance though is people that walk on the stage.
Yeah, which we did touch on recently.
I don't like it when people are on the stage. It's like, man, that's our workplace. That's our space. We have a lot of gear that's expensive, and we know our way around it.
Mm-hmm.
We could tiptoe around it. We could jump around it. We could leapfrog around our gear. We know it so well, and we know where it is.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
So don't come up here. We'll come down to you. We'll meet
Yes.
you. We'll meet you on your turf.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I think I told you, like one of the first or second gigs, I was like, God, I can't stand it when people get on this stage, even if it's just on the floor in the corner.
Yeah.
Don't cross the line of monitors.
And a drink in
And
your
a
hand.
drink in your hand. Don't
And
do
a drink
that.
in your hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Getting to that, that's one of the things that I see people doing, which it's one of those things that just drunk people do because they're drunk and they're not thinking about anything beyond their own enjoyment.
Sure.
But you see them and they're like, they think they're paying homage to man, and they're holding the drink like right over.
They forget that when you go like that, your hand stops, the cup stops, but the water, the booze keeps going.
And speaking of tying that in with inspiration too, like they are just, exemplary behavior of an audience. Like sometimes there'll be one of our regular fans, or at least a right-minded person would be right next to them and go, grab them, pull their arm back and say, no, expensive.
And that's appreciated.
Yeah.
And I get it. People want to be people, especially if they've seen you for a long time. They're part of the family and they want to be part of it. But man, when I was in the Derailers, I would cuss people out for standing on the stage and throw drumsticks at them. And I threw a guy off the stage once. I stopped playing and threw a guy off the stage. I'm like, this is not your place, dude.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm not going to do that with you guys because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But maybe after this podcast, people get the hint.
No, it is, and it's not no matter how many times you explain it, it doesn't get through. It doesn't get through that this is your workspace. And I think it was you that said, try that at a bank. Walk behind the counter.
How's that going to work out for you?
Yeah, check it out. Just see how or fucking line cook. Just walk behind there and see how a 350-degree spatula feels across the noggin.
Yeah,
it's anyway. So there's many pet peeves that go along with this, and there's a lot of stuff that you have to take in. You just have to take in stride, and you have to make it work.
That's the key, I think.
Yeah.
Take it in stride. It's part of the job.
Yeah.
But without spending the rest of the day on the
I think the good stuff outweighs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
The good stuff outweighs the bad stuff. You'll probably remember that one bad incident more than you will about talking to people.
Yeah.
But by and by,
it's fun talking about the annoying things too, because
of course
they're funny.
Yeah. Just that guy at Einstein's. You play any original music? Yes. I'm going to play an original song for you right now. Okay. And after that, I want to hear some Journey. And then he walked off just talked to fucking people and didn't even listen to the music. I'm like, that kind of shit is just like, it doesn't annoy me. I mentioned just like, why are you so stupid?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, anyway.
Yeah. But anyway, without spending the rest of the day on I think that we should wrap it up and give the people their day back. So this is I know it's probably...
We got started a little bit late, though.
There's one thing we didn't get to, which wasn't a question, but something we said we're going to talk about this week. Remember this? We're talking about bands that...
Yeah, we're going to have to save that for the next week.
Save it for next week?
Save it. Keep it in...
Because, I mean, that's a
whole show.
That could be a whole episode.
Show.
Yeah.
That needs to be the...
Fair enough.
And I really liked the Scott Quinn's, podcast thing, because I knew that was the detour that was going to, especially with you.
The what?
Oh, I could go on.
Yeah, I know. The podcast.
I just picked one
book and tape
to talk about.
Jesus.
And of course, now all I want to do is get back in the van and go on tour.
Just drive with the 610 loop for a couple hours. Listen to the podcast.
I've done it. No, I want to tour. I want to put the
maybe about 8 then.
Yeah, I want to put the gear in the van. And I want to go and play some clubs.
Yeah.
So
patience.
Yes, I know.
The sooner we're patient, the sooner this will be over.
Yes. Well said,
everybody. But in the
world, thank you for listening.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for all your donations yesterday during the live stream and every week.
And our new Patreon. Thank you.
Yeah, our Patreon, and people have been sending us tips just during the week, even when we're not live streaming. And I that's
grateful.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Keeping roofs over our heads right now.
It really does help. Yeah, it's it may not seem like a lot, but it's a lot. Even if it's just a couple bucks or whatever. I mean, we really, really appreciate that. So, but yeah, also please go, if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube and share these things around and get the numbers up. That'd be good too. In the long run, it could help us out quite a bit. All right, y'all.
All right, don't go changing.
Thanks very much. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you next week.